Yo, what's up guys? Dabala here. In today's video, I wanted to kind of talk about the recent trend of Clash Royale being, not in the greatest spot ever. As you can see here, I am going through my card collection, showing you guys kind of the problem with level 16. And I'm a player who does spend quite a lot of money on this game, and I barely have any level 16 cards. Like, I would say on average, I spend about probably 1K, maybe even more than that a year on different accounts, on my main account, and even I don't have that many level 16 cards. I would say the way they implemented level 16 was also a problem, It costs more to get level 16 now than it did to get level 15. And I think that's just really, really scummy and just greedy, Supercell, as we all know, is a billion-dollar company, right? And just the fact that it costs so much to get level 15 cards and stuff is just absurd. Like, there's just so many problems with this game, honestly. I could honestly rant about this for so long. But level 16 is one thing, the fact that they're just not, listening to the community. They're just releasing different cards. Level 16, nobody wanted that. The game was on an upward trend. And then level 16 came out and ruined it all, I just don't understand why they had to release level 16 when literally nobody asked for it, right? Like, they could have implemented it maybe a little bit later, when the game started to go a little bit downhill, I guess. But not when the game is at its peak, There's a lot of flaws with level 16 and the way they implemented it. So I think they just, they could have made it a lot more affordable, especially for free-to-play players. And then they changed, like, lucky boxes, and now instead of getting elite wild cards every time you open up one of those chests, you don't get elite wild cards because they don't exist anymore. And I think that's just a stupid thing they did there by changing that. And now you just pretty much, you either get, like, cards that you don't want, or you get cards, or you get those special, like, season token thingies. I don't know what they're called exactly. And those are, and you get emotes for that instead of just actual, like, cards and things that you need for the, for your deck and stuff. Especially as free-to-play players, I think they completely screwed it up. Just the pure greed by Supercell is just, it's beyond me, guys. They're a billion-dollar company, they make so much money per year. There's no reason why they need to just ruin the game by just making these level 16, the heroes, especially heroes, dude. Heroes is another topic that I want to talk about. It's just, to me, it's absurd. But, like, look at this. Look, speaking of heroes, look at that. Did you guys just see that? That's exactly what the problem is with heroes, first of all. First of all, they're completely unbalanced, right? As you guys obviously saw from that clip that I just showed you. Just unbelievably broken. I'm not sure why they would let a card like that even in the game. Obviously, it's not surprising to me. Clash Royale is definitely just known for not listening to their fan base, right? Or not fan base, but their community. And just the fact that you're able to release cards like that and have no shame and just, like, no repercussions, like, the game is on a downward trend. I mean, I'm sure you guys know that. You guys have probably seen those graphs on other people's videos about how the game is all is in the dumpster right now after Jinxie completely revived it. And I'm giving almost full credit to Jinxie here for actually reviving the game. Like, the game was already kind of in the gutter, right? And then Jinxie came back and started playing the game, revived it. And then Supercell just decided, you know what, let's just throw away our game. And, like, it's at the peak of its popularity because of a streamer who pretty much revived the whole thing. Like, I'm going to be honest, pretty much he did. And maybe, like, Riley, but even then I wouldn't really say too much. I would give most of the credit to Jinxie for that. But they went ahead and just released the worst update, one of the worst updates this game has ever seen. One of the most unaffordable updates as well. Level 16, a huge flop. And then they just release heroes. So they release two things that nobody asked for. Nobody cares about heroes. Nobody cares about level 16. Level 16, they could have added that sometime else, but they decided to add it at the peak of at the game's peak, which to me is just absurd. No, they could have waited a little bit to add level 16, but now instead they're gonna release it for whatever reason. Just for greed purposes. But honestly, like I'm not even sure how to say this. Like the game is just dead. It's dying right now. Everyone is not everyone, but a lot of people are quitting. They don't enjoy the game anymore because of the obviously the level 16 factor. You play Trophy Road maybe like 1 or 2 games, and if you're not if you don't have a whole deck that's level 16, you just end up getting destroyed by someone who has a full level 16 deck, right? Like I assume most of you guys are casuals who actually see this problem more than I do because I spend a lot of money on this game. But as a casual, I'm sure you guys understand that, the fact that there's some people with fully maxed level 16 decks, and maybe you're like 1 or 2 levels below, you just can't compete. It's impossible. It's obviously Clash Royale's always had this kind of thing where levels always mattered, but not to this extent though, because now you just can't compete at all. Lucky boxes were nerfed. Pretty much everything was nerfed. Progression was nerfed as a whole, And then they came up with like merge tactics, which not a lot of people play. But that's just a different topic for a different day, I guess. But it's just absurd to me how they're releasing all of these different updates for the game, or not updates, but these small little factors that just don't change anything to the game. Level 16 heroes. And another thing is, why would you add a hero to a card that already has, or that's already like really, really good, like the Musketeer? The Musketeer is already one of the best cards in the game. Honestly, why would you add a hero to a card that's already one of the best in the game? It just doesn't make any sense. Same with the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. obviously doesn't have a evolution, but the fact that it has a hero, which is completely game breaking to me, is just not fair. It's just a card that is completely unbalanced right now, and it obviously needs a nerf. But another card, which I think most of you guys hate, like me, is the Giant. The Giant obviously doesn't have an evolution, but it's really strong win condition, and giving it that huge buff that it got, or not buff, but that evolution or that hero that it got makes the deck a lot better than it was before. It makes the card a lot better. So the fact that they're giving heroes to cards that are already really, really good in the game just makes no sense. You got Musketeer, you got Knight. Also Knight's another card which is really, really good, which I'm not sure why you'd give a hero. It already has an evolution. Why don't you give heroes to cards like Barbarian Hut, maybe Mirror, maybe like a healer, cards that are not used that much, instead of giving them to cards which are completely overpowered, or cards that already are really good in the game. Like just decisions like that, which just doesn't make any sense to me, man. I would really like to get your guys' opinion on this kind of stuff in the comments down below if you care to go and tell me, because I could name another like 55 things that are wrong with the game, like the balance changes, just not listening to the community as a whole. It's just not fun, guys. They don't listen to the community. They don't do balances properly. It's a lot of things, guys. It's just not. Something needs to change, or else this game is going to continue to be on a downward spiral, guys. It's really sad to see a game as good as Clash Royale, which in my opinion is one of the best mobile games ever invented, just go down the gutter like that. You know what I mean? It's very sad because it has so much potential, but the fact that the devs don't listen particularly to the game's interest, and of course from a business standpoint, I understand what they're doing. They're trying to make money, it's a business, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you want your game to survive, you also need to listen to your community and things. And I think there's a lot of reasons why they do this. Greediness, that's definitely something, but they're $1 billion company. Why would you need to ruin your game like that? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Or like make your community unhappy, stuff like that. I just don't understand that. And then heroes, nobody asked for that. It's just a whole bunch of these different things. Even balances, like I said, balances really need to be doing a better job. They've been doing a better job recently, but overall, the balances are just, they're not great. You need a lot of, a lot of buffs. There's a lot of nerfs too, but I would say there needs to be a lot more buffs than nerfs, in my opinion. And it's just not happening, Clash Royale just decides or continues to not listen to the community, not listen to what kind of solutions they could give to the community and stuff like that. I just don't understand, man. This game has so much potential. They could do so much with this game, but unfortunately they just don't. They don't listen to us. And it's just really frustrating. But I hope by the end of this video, maybe you guys can let me know, some things that I missed and things like that. But something else I think I didn't mention was the fact that Lucky Drops got nerfed. I don't know if I mentioned that already. The fact that you can't get an evolution or a hero anymore, which is just really frustrating in my opinion, because you just can't get a hero. You have to get extremely lucky, and even then, you don't get. I don't think you get a full evolution unless you're super lucky. But I don't think that's a good a good change to the lucky boxes and stuff, which were really good for free to play players. I just think that's kind of foolish of them to nerf progression like that, and because they're already releasing level 16, why do you have to ruin progression once again? And yeah, once again, that's just something that I do not understand about Clash Royale. It really just kind of sucks that they keep doing these bad decisions, and it's even bad decisions on a business standpoint, because you want to be making more money and making the game kind of popular. You don't want to be doing the opposite. It just sucks, man. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about all of this. And as always, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.